Good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to start this series, and we're going to start with just a rundown of how it'll all work for the next couple of months. So, as a set of bonus series, or bonus streams rather, in addition to a scheduled amount of streams that will go up on the channel next week. So you'll see that calendar getting updated very soon. I am going to read Dracula in chronological order. So that means every day that there is an entry at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be up, starting the stream, and reading those entries out to you. Now, something that will be different from the other streams is that as soon as I get going, I'm just going to start reading. We're not going to have chat on this particular type of overlay or the redeems, because they're just little bonuses where I'm going to have the chronological order of Dracula up and available for you on VOD immediately afterwards. So you'll be able to find those VODs on my YouTube channel. You won't miss a thing. If you are not able to get up this early, not able to get up this late, depending on what your time zone is, don't worry, it'll all be there. But for anyone that does join me live, thank you very much. I appreciate all of you, and all of your chats will definitely make me smile, even if I don't react to them in the bonus videos. The inspirations for this project, of course, I want to give credit to, and I will link in the intro video, that I have been definitely inspired by the reading of Dracula by Overly Sarcastic Productions. They did a really fantastic reading a few years back. And then, of course, now one of the OGs of just kind of bringing Dracula to the masses recently, Dracula Daily. Want to give credit to them for inspiring, just kind of doing it as a daily thing as well. So, definitely check out both of those sources. I will link them for sure in the introduction video once it goes up and live. And otherwise, yeah, these are just little bonus streams. And I am so excited to share this book with you, and also to break it down in chronological order if you want to see some of my madness before we get started. I have broken down in chronological order for the next several months until the end of the book in November, just exactly when there are Dracula entries and what pages to read. So, I'm a big fan. I'm well prepared. And let's get into it. Dracula by Bram Stoker. How these papers have been placed in sequence will be made manifest in the reading of them. All needless matters have been eliminated, so that a history almost at variance with the possibilities of latter-day belief may stand forth as simple fact. There is throughout no statement of past events wherein memory may err, for all the records chosen are exactly contemporary, given from the standpoints and within the range of knowledge of those who made them. Chapter 1. Jonathan Harker's Journal, kept in shorthand. May 3rd. Bistritz. Left Munich at 8:35 p.m. on 1st May, arriving at Vienna early next morning. Should have arrived at 6:46, but train was an hour late. Budapest seems a wonderful place, from the glimpse which I got of it from the train and the little I could walk through the streets. I feared to go very far from the station, as we had arrived late and would start as near the correct time as possible. The impression I had was that we were leaving the west and entering the east, the most western of splendid bridges over the Danube. Where is here of noble width and depth, took us among the traditions of Turkish rule. We left in pretty good time, and came after nightfall to Klausenburg. Here I hoped for the night at the Hotel Royal. I had for dinner, or rather supper, a chicken done up some way with red pepper, which was very good, but thirsty. Memo, get recipe for Mima. For Mina. I asked the waiter, and he said that it was called paprika Hindel, and that, as it was a national dish, I should be able to get it anywhere along the Carpathians. I found my smattering of German very useful here indeed. I don't know how I should be able to get on without it. Having some time at my disposal when in London, I had visited the British Museum and made search among the books and maps of the library regarding Transylvania. It had struck me that some foreknowledge of the country could hardly fail to have some importance in dealing with a noble of that country. I find that the district he named is in the extreme east of the country, just on the borders of the three states, Transylvania, Moldavia, and Bukovina, in the midst of the Carpathian Mountains, one of the wildest and least known portions of Europe. I was not able to light on any map or work giving the exact locality of the Castle Dracula, as there are no maps of this country as yet to compare with our own Ordnance Survey maps. But I found that Bistritz, the post town named by Count Dracula, is a fairly well-known place. I shall enter here some of my notes, as they may refresh my memory when I talk over my travels with Mina. In the population of Transylvania, there are 4 distinct nationalities. Saxons in the south, mixed with them the Wallachs, who are also descendants of Dacians, Magyars in the west, and the Romani in the east and north. I am going among the latter, who claim to be descended from Attila and the Huns. This may be so, and when the Magyars conquered the country in the 11th century, they found the Huns settled in it. I read that every known superstition in the world is gathered into the horseshoe of the Carpathians, as if it were the center of some sort of imaginative whirlpool. If so, my stay may be very interesting. Memo, I must ask the Count about all of them. I did not sleep well, though my bed was comfortable enough, for I had all sorts of queer dreams. There was a dog howling all night under my window, which may have had something to do with it. Or it may have been the paprika, for I had to drink up all the water in my carafe and was still thirsty. Towards morning, I slept and was wakened by the continuous knocking at my door. So I guess I might as have been sleeping soundly then. I had for breakfast more paprika and a sort of porridge of maize flour, which they said was a mamilgla, an eggplant stuffed with forcemeat, which was pretty excellent, which they call impletata. Memo, get recipe for this also. I had to hurry breakfast, for the train started a little before 8, or rather, it ought to have done so, for after rushing to the station at 7:30, I had to sit in the carriage for more than an hour before we began to move. It seems to me that the furthest east you go, or the further east you go, the more unpunctual the trains. What ought they to be in China? All day long we seemed to dawdle through a country which was full of beauty of every kind. Sometimes we saw little towns or castles on the top of steep hills, such as we see in old missals. Sometimes we ran by rivers and streams, which seemed from wide stony margin on each side of them to be subject to be great floods. It takes a lot of water, and running strong, to sweep the outside edge of a river clear. At every station There were groups of people, sometimes crowds, and in all sorts of attire. Some of them were just like peasants at home, or those I saw coming through France and Germany, with short jackets and round hats and homemade trousers, but others were very picturesque. The women looked pretty, except when you got near them, and but they were all very clumsy about the waist. They had all full white sleeves of some kind of another, and most of them had big belts with lots of strips of something fluttering from them, like the dresses in a ballet. But of course, petticoats underneath them. The strangest figures we saw were the Slovaks, who were more barbarian than the rest, with their big cowboy hats, great big dirty white trousers, white linen shirts, and enormous heavy leather belts, nearly a foot wide, all studded over with brass nails. They wore high boots, with their trousers tucked into them, and had long black hair and heavy black mustaches. They are very picturesque, but do not look prepossessing. On the stage, they would be set down at once as some old Oriental band of brigands. They are, however, I am told, very harmless and rather wanting in natural self-assertion. It was on the dark side of twilight when we got to Bristed's, which is a very interesting old place, being practically on the frontier, for the Borgo Pass leads from it into Bukovina. It had a very stormy existence, and it certainly shows marks of it. 50 years ago, a series of great fires took place, which made terrible havoc on 5 separate occasions. At the very beginning of the 17th century, it underwent a siege of 3 weeks and lost 13,000 people, the casualties of war proper being assisted by famine and disease. Count Dracula had directed me to go to Golden Krone Hotel, which I found, to my delight, to be thoroughly old-fashioned. For of course I wanted to see all I could of the ways of the country. I was evidently expected, for when I got near the door I faced a cheery-looking elderly woman in the usual peasant dress, white undergarment with long double apron, front and back, and colored stuff fitting almost too tightly for modesty. When I came close, she bowed and said, "Ah, the Herr Englishman." Yes, I said. "Jonathan Harker." She smiled and gave some message to an elderly man in white shirt sleeves, who had followed her to the door. He went, but immediately returned with a letter. "My friend, welcome to the Carpathians. I am anxiously awaiting you. Sleep well tonight. At 3 tomorrow, the diligence will start for Bukovina. A place on it is kept for you. At the Borgo Pass, my carriage will await you and will bring you to me. I trust that your journey from London has been a happy one, and that you will enjoy your stay in my beautiful land. Your friend, Dracula."